guys, it's IDW, and today we are actually going to be starting a brand new series in which we are going to be discussing exactly how computers work. And computers really are one of the most complicated things that you can really make with Redstone. Actually, practically by definition they are. So, yeah, and so first of all, I'd like to say that I'm sort of going to divide this series into two parts. First of all, I'm going to be doing sort of theory work in which I explain how everything works on PowerPoints, and then I'm actually going to be building a Redstone computer to go along with this series at the same time, but of course I'm going to wait until I've finished all of the information that needs to go into everything before I'm actually going to build the stuff on out of Redstone. And yeah, that's pretty much all that there is on that front. Oh yes, I might as well mention that also if you sort of understand how all of this works, you can sort of just watch me build the computer, and yeah, and it's not going to be any messing around explanation computer. The computer that I'm going to be building is actually something that I might be able to start to approach like one of the more powerful computers ever built, so one of my best creations. And yeah, so additionally to that, I might as well say now that this is going to take a long time to come out because I have a really complicated schedule these days, and I only sometimes get to record some like Pokemon Showdown or something else, so this is going to be taking a lot of my time, and yeah, so it's probably not going to be fully out until like next June. So yeah, unfortunately, if you're looking for like an episode every week, that might not even happen. So yeah, so without any further ado, let's get into our first thing, and today we're going to be talking about what exactly a computer is, because you can't build something if you don't know what it is. So yeah, so a few things to know coming in first though. You should know how adders and subtractors function, you should know how RAM and ROM work, and you should know some basic pipelining, because we will need to use that in terms of a few clock things. And yeah, so what on earth is a computer? Computer is a device that computes by simple definition, but unfortunately this isn't really the definition that you would think of. For instance, the thing that you're watching this on is more than just something that can compute. We're going to say that something that just can compute is a calculator, and a computer is something else, and a computer is something that can store, manipulate, and show data. And additionally, it has to be told each of these things in order for it to actually do them. And that's, if you've ever heard the saying, computers are useless, they can only give you answers, that's why. Because you have to ask it a question in order for it to do any of these things. You have to ask it to store data, you have to ask it to manipulate data, and you have to ask it to show data. So yeah, that's really all that a computer is. There's a few more precise things about this, but we're going to take each one of these parts, parts of this definition, and we're going to take them and we're going to say that the three main parts of a computer, because a computer is an extremely complicated thing, there are multiple parts in it. The three main parts, we're going to have one thing that shows data, one thing that manipulates data, and one thing that stores data. Now, the thing that we're going to use for showing data is going to be our input-output, which is basically like a keyboard or a screen. Manipulating data, we're going to have a CPU, and for storing data, we're going to have memory. And yeah, that's basically what everything is. So now let's talk about the CPU, first of all. The CPU is by far the most complicated part of a computer. There's one particular part of it, which we're going to be discussing later, called the control unit, which is just nightmarish. CPUs and full computers are often mixed up. there is a very, very distinct difference. A CPU is a part of a computer, and a computer contains a CPU. And CPU actually stands for Central Processing Unit, not computer. I mean, if you just listen to that, that just sounds stupid. And so, yeah, now we're going to get into memory. Memory is just how you store data, and it's divided into two things, RAM and ROM. If you remember, as I said at the start, you should know what these are. And it can contain instructions or data in either RAM or ROM. Not all computers do this. In fact, a lot of computers only have instructions in ROM, and they only have data in RAM. But the one that we're going to be building is going to have instructions of both data. It's going to have both instructions and data in either RAM or ROM. And in a full-fledged real computer, though, you're going to have a whole bunch of types of memory other than this. You're going to have cache, and you're going to have the memory hierarchy, but that is way above us. We might discuss that towards the end of this series, but that's really not what we're trying to learn here. Now, the input-output, that is actually how you use a computer, and it's generally the only part of the computer that you see. It's what you're watching this video on right now, and real computers have keyboards and liquid crystal displays, but we're going to have to do with redstone levers and lamps, and yeah. And some redstone computers actually have low-resolution screens, but we're not going to do that just because the instruction set isn't friendly for that. This is really going to be the sort of computer that's going to be able to, like, multiply floating point numbers. If you remember that from that series, we're actually going to end up programming a floating point number program on this computer. So yeah, and that really is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time, where we're going to be discussing the first part of the computer, the CPU.